Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon when you are watching this video. Yesterday, we discussed about some of the basic aspects of economics. What is the origin of the economics, coming from a Greek word called oikonomia, which means household. Also, some of the details related to the history of economics, wherein a book by Adam Smith was published in 1776 called as The Wealth of Nations, and that is considered to be the first modern work of economics. And we discussed about what is the reason why economics as a particular subject plays a crucial role in any individuals or societies sphere. What is the reason because of which economics is so important? Because of these two fundamental facts. One is that human beings have unlimited wants, and second is that the means to satisfy those wants, or in other words, we can say the resources available in order to satisfy those wants is not unlimited, those are limited. So, because of these two contradictions, definitely these two have to be matched consciously, and economics will give us such concepts and theories and tools wherein the production and distribution functions are matched. Of course, how the production happens or how the distribution happens, that depends upon the type of economy, no doubt about it. But irrespective of the type of economy, ultimately any economy, any country, any society has to do these two functions. One is production, second one is distribution. Then on the other side, we have to also understand about the growth of various positive things in the human history, which have led us into many great things, no doubt about it. But at the same time, the same things have created a lot of complex situations, because of which the role of economics becomes more and more important. So, it's not just about the allocation of resources, it is also about how to handle these complex situations that economics deals with. Of course, the study of economics does not solve all the problems. It is not a magic wand for all the problems of humanity, no doubt about it, but still, it is still an important field of study which gives us right perspective and that helps us in discovering suitable measures to deal with the problems or challenges that we tackle. That's what economics will try to give us. That is the role of economics, background of economics, we can say, the reason why economics is important for any society. All these things we have discussed in the earlier session. In addition to that, we started the understanding of word business economics. As the name itself indicates, it is the application of economic theory or economic principle for business practices. So, on one side, economic theories are there, on other side, business is there, where there are so many decisions which have to be taken on a day-to-day basis. How these two have to be matched, that is what business economics tells us. So, it is a kind of bridge between the theory called economics and the practical issues of business, particularly related to decision making. And what kind of decisions that a firm has to take. In fact, there will be hundreds of decisions that any particular organization has to take, but in general, what are the examples of those decisions? We have just discussed those items in the earlier session. Generally, you should know them, not that you have to by heart them or remember them, but you should know these are definitely very key areas of decision making for any organization. Of course, the decision making process is not that easy. It has a lot of scientific knowledge to be applied, a lot of tools and techniques to be applied, but all these things will be given by different types of management theories, and business economics is definitely one of those things which provides a lot of theory as well as techniques. In simple words, business economics integrates economic theory with business practice, and this is what is the basic objective of business economics, where the economic theories are applied in real life business practice. Again, don't think that we are going to apply. We are only knowing the theories of economics so that which will be applicable in the business practice in reality, not in the classrooms, not in the examination halls. That reality of applying them happens in the reality, but knowing the theories only will be our job. That is the first part. Before applying anything, first you should know. Without knowing, how can you apply? So don't worry about applying them all now, but have a bent of thought process which gives us an idea about how these things could be applied in real life, how possibly these things might have an impact in real life. Lot of things in these questions can be answered by business economics, and what are the theories that business economics or microeconomic theories will tell us will answer many of these questions. And these questions can be answered by using theory of demand, theory of supply, consumer behavior, and price determination, and each type of market, and the production theories and cost theories. Every theory that we are going to discuss as part of the business economics syllabus is going to be really useful in real life. That we should know. But are we going to use them? Definitely not. That is beyond our scope. Our job here is to only know the theories and understand what could be the application of them. Understanding what could be the application of them is different from really applying them. Really applying will only happen in actual life. That is something that you also will undergo in future time when you actually join jobs or enter into businesses or start practice in future. But right now, the theories of economics are going to be dealt with, and those are going to be helpful in business decision making, that we should know. And what types of theories? We know them already. These are the things which are part of the economics: theory of demand, supply, cost, price, competition, etc. All these things are going to be learned definitely as part of this subject, and that is going to be helpful for what? Ultimately, it is going to be helpful for business decision making. So, is this a pure science or applied science? Once again, there are two categories we can make. Is it a pure science or applied science? The business economics is not a pure thing, that is an applied economics. However, applied economics also should have theories. Our job here is to know those theories and to know that these are applied in real life. That's all. To that extent, our scope will end. Really applying them happens in the outside world. That cannot happen within the classrooms or examination halls. That is not possible. So, this is the background of business economics and what is the important role of business economics in decision making process and how it helps the decision making process of businesses so that the businesses can become successful. However, business economics is not only that which has economic theory. Of course, it has micro as well as little bit of macroeconomic theories. It has lot of other theories also which will be helpful for decision making. Means business economics has relationship with many other branches of science also. Again, science does not mean botany, zoology for us. We are talking about different branches, different fields of study. Could be operations research, statistics or mathematics. These are all related closely with business economics. Just need to know them, how they are related, how are we going to apply mathematics in business economics. All those things are not our purview. Knowing something is different, doing something is different. Knowing is our job as far as the theories of economics are concerned. Same thing applies to understanding the background of economics. Of course, there is some question generally which comes, is business economics only valuable for business decision making where there is profit motive. Is business economics also applicable for not for profit organizations? Answer is of course yes. Economics does not mean it is only applicable for profit oriented organizations. The principles of economics can definitely be applied for not for profit organizations also. So if any statement in the questions tells that business economics is useless for not for profit organizations, that is a false statement. It is applicable, it is useful across the fields, across the kind of industries, whether they are for profit, not for profit, government organizations, private organizations, in fact government itself. All these parties will have some usefulness of the principles of business economics. That is for sure. Now let us understand what are the definitions of business economics. Actually it is an extension of that only, nothing new here. So a lot of times it so happens that there is a lot of repetition in the ICA material. Of course that is for the benefit of the students, so that if you read it again and again, you will understand the essence. That is the purpose for which it is repeated. But that does not mean it requires as many times repeated, those many times explanation. You have to just generally read through them. The essence is what is important. So what is the essence of business economics? What is business economics? It is the use of economic analysis to make business decisions. I think that's enough. Of course, involving the best use of organizational scarce resources. Ultimately, resource utilization has to be optimum, and we know that already resources are generally scarce, and how to use those resources is the job of economics. And that's what business economics also does. And it uses this economic analysis to help making business decisions. That is business economics definition in a simple way. And somebody else defined business economics like this. Jaldine defined like using of economic analysis in the formulation of business policies. So whatever the name we call it, you call them business decisions, you call them business policies. Ultimately, more or less, they are same. But essence is important, essence is same. Using economic analysis in the formulation of business policy or to make business decisions is what is business economics. And as we have just now already observed, it is applied economics. It is not a pure theory, it is applied economics, and it has application of certain quantitative techniques. We are not going to use any of them now, but we are just going to know the names of them. Say linear programming, regression analysis, capital budgeting, break-even analysis or cost analysis. All these things are part of the application of economic principles for business decision making or policy making. However, can we learn all of them now at a foundation level? Definitely not. Our focus here will be mostly on the microeconomic theories of the business economics. That's what is given here very clearly. Our approach in this text is to focus on the heart of the business economics. That is what? Microeconomic theory of the behavior of consumers and firms in competitive markets. That's all. So we are only going to talk about this particular area, not about everything. So that is going to be our basic approach. To this extent only we will limit ourselves. What is that? Microeconomic theory in relation to the consumer behavior and how the firms should behave in competitive market. The theories of demand, supply, production, cost, etc. Those things are all part of business economics as far as this particular textbook is concerned. That does not mean this text is the only book in the business economics in the world. Business economics as such is a huge area which has a lot of things. We are not going to use all of them now. Our restriction is only to the extent of microeconomic theories. But these theories are definitely going to be useful, and they are going to give the managers the basic framework for taking key business decisions. No doubt about it. These are also very important. The theories that we are going to learn are very important for business decision making. However, we are not going to extend our learning process to beyond basic microeconomic theories. That does not mean we will not learn them at all. Don't be in a hurry. We will have everything at later level. Regression analysis, though not in an application manner, still you have that in the quantitative aptitude paper in foundation itself. Correlation and regression, I hope you have that. Linear programming, you will have that as part of operations research in final. capital budgeting, we will definitely have that in the financial management subject of group 2 of chartered accountancy intermediate. Break-even analysis and cost analysis also will be part of costing paper, cost and management accounting, in group 1 of the CA intermediate. So we will definitely have all of them in future, don't worry. But at this level of foundation, our focus is only on microeconomic theory. Application of this is very broad and huge, but learning the theories is our focus now rather than application. So that is the simple point to be remembered. Now, what is the subject matter of economics in general? In general, how this economics can be broadly classified into? It's a simple logic, simple things. There are broadly 2 categories. One is microeconomics, second one is macroeconomics. And once again, to remind you, what is our focus in this particular CA foundation going to be more on? It is going to be more on microeconomics, not on macroeconomics. Macroeconomics will be there. We will definitely discuss macroeconomic principles in CA intermediate group 2 in a particular paper which is attached to the financial management as economics for finance. So this will come, but not now. That will be discussed at a later stage. Right now we are going to focus only on microeconomics. But should we know what is microeconomics, macroeconomics? Absolutely yes. Should we know what are the areas covered by microeconomics, macroeconomics? What is the distinction between these two? Those things we should know. That is what we are going to now discuss. What is microeconomics? What type of economics we can call as microeconomics? Simply, it is the study of the behavior of different individuals and organizations. That is a key area, key word that will define whether in economics we are talking about is micro or macro. You have to check that. The subject matter we are talking about, is it in relation to an individual or an organization also? Still it becomes a microeconomics. So, if we are talking about a country as a whole, that is not microeconomics. If we are talking about one organization in a country, that is microeconomics. If we are talking about an industry, that is not microeconomics. If we are talking about a company in that industry, that is microeconomics. For example, if we say retail industry has been losing revenue since the past 2 years, that has nothing to do with microeconomics. That is not a statement in relation to microeconomics. That is a macroeconomic statement. But we have to specify that. Let us say Patanjali Group has changed its marketing strategy to increase the sales. That is a microeconomic statement that is talking about the pricing strategy of one particular organization. So if we are talking about a particular individual or an organization, we are talking about microeconomics. That is the thumb rule. Simply we can understand that by looking at what is the subject matter. If the subject matter is an individual or an organization, enough. That is going to be called as microeconomics. Then what the microeconomics tells us? It tells us how the individuals once again mean consumers or firms. Consumers means individuals, firms means organizations. How they take decisions and how they efficiently allocate their scarce resources. And particularly here, the focus is on a small number of or group of units rather than all the units combined. So it does not explain what happens to the wider economic environment. Which will explain the wider economic environment, that is done by macroeconomics but not by microeconomics. So what microeconomics focuses upon? It focuses on individuals and organizations. That's all. That is what their focus is generally in relation to microeconomics. Of course, these are some of the areas which are given here, which are like some of the points to be noted. What are the main areas of study in microeconomics? These are the main areas of study in microeconomics. So one is product pricing, how the pricing of the products has to be. Consumer behavior, we have all these theories as part of our microeconomics. Factor pricing, factors means various inputs for the production process. What are the various inputs? First of all, we should know what are the factors, and we should also know how the factors have to be priced. These are all part of microeconomic theory. So product pricing, consumer behavior, whenever we talk about them, we have to understand we are talking about microeconomics. That is the clear indication. Because product is interrelated. Product pricing will not be done for an industry or a country as a whole. It will be done by an organization. Consumer behavior will be observed in relation to individuals, the people, the consumers. Factor pricing, the economic conditions of not the entire economy, the economic conditions of whom? The section of people only, that will be part of microeconomics. And behavior of firms, only firms. Firms does not mean again partnership firm and all. Don't get into that different thought process. Firm means any organization. Here we are talking. Say location of industry. These are all some of the examples. These are all some of the examples of the microeconomic theories. Whatever we are talking about, these are some of the examples of them only. But ultimately, all of these are talking about either individuals or organizations. That is very clear. So what can we say? What microeconomics studies about? There can be 100 other points like this. These are only some of the points which are given. So these points are all to be just noted as part of microeconomics, including product pricing, consumer behavior, factor pricing, economic conditions of a section of people, not the entire society, and behavior of the firms and location of industry. Particular thing, industry here means factory or something like that. So with these points, what the business firms will do, they will try to take some of the decisions here, and all of them will be helpful for decision making. Pricing itself is a decision. Consumer behavior helps in decision making. Factor pricing is a decision making process. And not only that, economic conditions of a section of people will also give us a hint about consumer pricing. So these two are linked with each other also. Why? Depending upon the economic conditions of a people, we can understand their behavior. So like that, these are all linked with each other. And depending upon the behavior of the competitors or other firms, so this can be linked to product pricing also. So various items are linked with each other within the microeconomics. But end of the day, whatever they are linked, the way they are linked and all, ultimately what are they talking about, what are they not talking about? They are talking about individuals and organization. They are not talking about a wider economic environment. That is what is microeconomics. Now moving on to macroeconomics. Naturally, it is the opposite of microeconomics. So what is going to be? The macroeconomics, it is the study of overall economic phenomena. That's it. Overall economic phenomena or the economy as a whole, as we can talk about. That's what macroeconomics talks about. It does not talk about only one individual. It does not talk about only one company. It talks about the large economic aggregates. This is the word you should remember. Macroeconomics is economics of aggregates. Economic aggregates. Then aggregates is not a big word. Aggregates means total, so simple. So if you take individually, that becomes micro. If you total all of them, that becomes macro. Let us say if you take one particular factory, a cement factory has 10,000 tons of output in the year. That is micro. The overall level of output in the cement industry of a particular country is 4 lakhs tons. That is macro. Both are talking about cement only, both are talking about level of output only. But microeconomics talks about one particular company or one particular organization. Macroeconomics talks about overall levels of output. Same way, total consumption. Total means aggregate. Wherever when we say overall, total, again total, all total means what? Nothing but aggregate. So these are all aggregates means totals. So total level of output, total consumption, how it will be, total saving, total investment, all these things are called aggregates. And how these aggregates shift over a period of time will be analyzed by macroeconomics. And it will analyze the overall economic environment of the country, we can say, in which the firms, governments and others will make decisions. So simply this can be very easily understood. This is the essence of the macroeconomics. It tells the environment, that is economic environment, in which firms, governments and households make decisions. In a broader basis, we will come to this later in Group 2. But just for understanding, who are the three players in any country? If you just take any country, any economy, there will be always three players, three major people, major categories. One is firms, means organizations. Two is government. Three is households. How these people take decisions depend upon what? That depends upon the overall economic environment. And that level or that overall economic environment is analyzed by whom? And that is analyzed by macroeconomics. That is the purpose of macroeconomics. Now, again, for understanding purpose, some of the things where macroeconomics focuses upon. These are some of the areas where macroeconomics focuses. Like, for example, national income and national output. So, for example, the general price levels and interest rates. These are all macro things. So, national income is about the entire country. National output is also about the entire country. So, general price levels generally means that is inflation. Interest rates. Interest rates are not for only one company or one firm. It is applicable for the entire country. So, these are macro items. Inflation, whenever we say, it is a macro item. Interest rates, macro item. Balance of trade and balance of payments. And these things will happen between the countries. Balance of trade means between two countries, how is the balance of trade? Between two countries, how is the balance of payments? These are international things. But again, macro things, country to country, not between two companies. One company in India, one company in China, they have balance of trade. We don't care about it. That is not macro. Macro means how is the balance of trade between India and China? How is the balance of trade between India and America? That is the level at which the macroeconomics talks about. That is aggregate level. Not only that, currency, very important aspect. So currencies, different foreign currencies in the world are there, how they change and how their values will be changing. These all will be told by whom? The macroeconomic theories. And not only that, the savings levels and investment levels also will be understood by macroeconomic theories. So the macroeconomics is a subject that deals with these items. And these are the words you have to remember generally, not to by heart them. But by looking at them, we should understand we are talking about something which is macro. These are all the words which we look at normally on a daily basis in newspapers. If you observe, all of them are macro items only. We talk about employment, that's a macro item. Growth, macro item. Savings, investment, currency, balance of trade, balance of payments, inflation, interest rates, national income, GDP, growth rate, all these things, whatever we see. Daily we see the newspaper, many economic words are used. Most of them are macroeconomic items, and macroeconomics focuses on these areas in general, right? That is about classification of overall economics into micro and macro. We have two types of economics, we know that now, micro and macro. But are we going to look at this? Definitely no. Macroeconomics we are not going to discuss at this level. We are going to focus mostly on microeconomics at this level. But we should know what is a micro item, all these things, and what are macro items, all these things, generally for understanding of distinction between these two. Same thing is again mentioned here. What business economics generally focuses upon? Where is it interested in? It is generally concerned with what? Once again, microeconomics. Of course, macroeconomic analysis also has an important role to play. However, majorly it is concerned with microeconomics. So, because basically why business economics is more concerned with microeconomics is, since the economy is a macroeconomic analysis item that will have an influence on the individual's firm's performances and the decisions, which means the macroeconomic environment will give us an understanding of the overall business environment. That's what it will tell. However, ultimately, what decisions have to be taken on the basis of which principles? That is on the basis of microeconomic principles only. Point here to once again note, our syllabus, not only our syllabus, even whenever we say business economics, in general, it is mostly focusing on microeconomics. However, macroeconomic analysis, macroeconomic environmental factors cannot be ignored. Cannot be ignored, only we should know. Are we going to know them? Are we going to talk about what is the impact of inflation, what is the impact of interest rates on the businesses, how the unemployment will have impact, how the growth rates in economy will be there, what is GDP? All these things will come, don't worry. But all of them will, where we'll discuss them at group 2 level of CA intermediate called Economics for Finance. That is macroeconomic theory. Whereas now what we are going to learn is mostly microeconomic theory, right? That is the classification of microeconomics and macroeconomics. Now let us just little bit further investigate and understand the nature of business economics. What could be the features of business economics, we can call them. Already we discussed the most of the features, but they are just repeated in a different way. Of course, the economic world is very complex, no doubt about it, and there is lot of interdependence among decisions and activities, no doubt about it. But what we are going to learn, the economic theories are hypothetical and simplistic in character. Reality is very complex, outside world is very complex, and it has lot of interdependence with different other theories also and different other entities also. But the theories that we are going to learn are mostly hypothetical. Hypothetical means imaginary. Under ideal conditions only these theories will apply. But in reality there will not be ideal conditions. So that is inevitable. That's how it happens. Because all these economic models are basically on some assumptions. They are made on some assumptions. So there will be definitely a gap. Definitely, no doubt about it. There will be a gap between what? The propositions of economic theory and the happenings in the real economic world. That we cannot prevent. None of our business also to prevent that. All that we need to know is we should identify that, boss, there are economic theories which are mostly based on hypothetical and simplicity, and some of them are based on assumptions. But reality is very complex and there is a lot of interdependence in the decision making process and among various other entities also. Since the theories are simplistic, reality is very complex, there is a gap between the propositions of economic theories, what we are going to learn, and what actually happens in the real economic world. That is where we have to bridge that gap of theory and practice. Not you and me, you cannot do that, I cannot do that also with just teaching. When somebody does this actually in the organizations, that is where the application of business economic theories will be useful in real practice. Real application of those things only will conclude the usefulness of business economics. However, usefulness of business economics is there. That is for sure. The question what this entire paragraph raises is it going to be automatic? Just like that you have some principles and you use them in the real life. Not possible, sir. Because the theories are so simplistic and assumption based, but reality is very complex and it is not assumption based, reality is reality. So that is why it becomes a challenge, though it has to be taken, it is a challenge to bridge the gap between the theory and practice of economics. That is just a general understanding which we have been talking about since beginning. Since beginning, one of the aspects we have to keep in mind is the theory we are learning are theories. Name itself indicates they are theories. Application at the maximum, what we will do? Maybe in relation to if at all some questions are given, some case based situations are given, some problems are given, there we do some application. But reality is not going to be that simple. The questions that we face in the examination are simple. Reality in the business environment is not going to be that simple. That gap has to be bridged. That gap has to be filled by managers who are management team. They will do that. For that purpose, they need to know the theories, but at the same time, they cannot settle with the hypothetical theories. They have to apply them in the real life. That is where they have to try to bridge the gap between theory and practice. And what they will have to use for that, this is what is a simple and good word to use. Economic logic and analytical tools they have to use. Once again, are we going to do that? Are you becoming managers immediately? No. We are only knowing that what they have to do. So they have to do these things. They have to bridge the gap between economic theory and practice by applying what? Economic logic that is giving us theory, analytical tools, applying them into practice. Tools and all we are not going to learn now. We are only going to learn first part of it, that is economic logic. That logic comes from what? Economic theories. That's all. These are the aspects related to business economics in a nutshell. Now, there are some other points to be noted in understanding the nature of business economics. Once again, are you going to face any question which asks you, briefly explain what is the nature of business economics, and then you will copy paste all these things for getting some marks? Not going to happen, because this paper is not a descriptive paper. So don't try to by heart any of these things. Only try to read them, thoroughly read them, understand them. That's all. Understanding is going to give you more marks. By hearting is not required as far as this paper is concerned. But we should know that yes, economics is having certain characteristics, and what are those characteristics? First of all, this is a science. Yes or no? Question is clear whether business economics is a science. Of course, answer is yes. Why can we call it a science? How can we call it a science? For that, we need to go to definition of science. What is science? Science is a systematized body of knowledge which establishes the cause and effect relationships. Science is a systematized body of knowledge which establishes cause and effect relationships, and business economics also does that. We will do that. We will definitely establish cause and effect relationships between different variables, which means business economics is also a science. And as we discussed earlier, business economics just not only tells about the theory of economics, it also integrates the tools of various decision making processes like what? Mathematics, statistics, econometrics, and they are all blended with economic theory. So finally, the business economics follows various scientific methods, and it tests the validity of the results empirically. Empirically means practically, it will test them. So for any theory to be proven, there has to be a test on that theory. If that is proven, then only that theory becomes good, that holds good. Like that, business economics also goes through the general process of a scientific approach. So we can call business economics also as a science. Since it is definitely a systematized body of knowledge, it definitely establishes cause and effect relationship, and it is very closely related with other scientific subjects like mathematics, statistics, and econometrics, and it blends them with the economic theory, uses scientific methods, tests the validity of the results empirically. All these things are proofs that business economics is a science. And as we know already, business economics is mostly based on what? Microeconomics. Majorly it is based on microeconomics. That does not mean macroeconomics will be ignored. However, in general, it relies heavily on the techniques of microeconomics. Why is that? Logic itself will tell us. That's the contents of our paper itself will tell us. Why is that? What does an organization face on a regular basis? Whether it is related to taking decisions, or whether it is related to taking a business policy, you can say direction. All these things are going to happen only by knowing certain economic principles. Like same things, demand, supply, who is the consumer, what is the behavior of consumer, what is the cost, how to produce, what are the production theories. All these things are going to be useful for decision making. So that is why business economics is heavily based on microeconomic principles. However, it also incorporates macro analysis. It incorporates. We are not going to do that. We are only knowing what is business economics and what is the nature of business economics. Don't think that just because we have the subject name business economics, we are knowing the entire business economics. No, there is nothing called entire business economics. There may be entire political sciences, as somebody says, but there is nothing called entire business economics. This is only a portion of business economics. What we are trying to know here, what is the entire scope of business economics? In that, our restriction is very clear. Our restriction is purely related to microeconomic theories. However, in reality, business economics also incorporates the elements of macro analysis. Why? Because businesses do not operate in vacuum. There will be external environmental factors definitely which will have their own impact on the businesses. And what are those factors? As we already discussed earlier, these are all various factors that can be understood. general price level means inflation, income and employment levels in the economy, government policies in respect of taxation, interest rates, exchange rates, industries, prices, distribution, all these things. Government policies will have also an impact. So there are a lot of macroeconomic areas which have to be also kept in mind while taking decisions, no doubt about it. So definitely a business manager must be acquainted with these things, no doubt about it. However, once again, are we going to focus on them? Answer is no. That is not part of this particular discussion of business economics. Here we are going to focus only on mostly microeconomics. However, microeconomics and macro analysis both are part of business economics. That we have to keep in mind. That is always there. Whenever we think about business economics or economics in general, that is having both of them. Both of them are important. It is only our convenience because of which we have split that into two areas. Microeconomics we are learning at foundation level, macroeconomics we will learn at CA intermediate level. That's all. Now earlier we said business economics is a science. Is it only a science? Is it not an art? Of course it is an art also. It is a science also and it is an art also because it involves the practical application of rules and principles for attainment of set objectives. Just a simple difference between science and art. What is the difference between science and art? So if there is a science, directly, whatever the situation may be, if different people are using the same equation under the same environment, they will get same results. That means there is already a set rule and that rule is related to the cause and effect relationship. For example, only for understanding, say H2O is always going to be water only. If there are two molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen going to be mixed in America also it is going to be water only. In India also it is going to be water only. In Australia also it is going to be water only. It is not going to change. It is the science. It is a science. Because it is systematized body of knowledge with cause and effect relationship. That's it. It is going to be same everywhere. But art is different. Let us say using that water for, let us say, mixing some cool drink. That is not just a science. That could be an art. Somebody may do it very well. Somebody may not do it very well. So that is where it involves practical application of the rules and principles also. So having rules and principles makes it science because there is a systematized body of knowledge. Applying those rules and principles, that will not be common. Somebody will apply this way, somebody will apply another way. So each person will have their own freedom of applying them. Then that is called an art. So wherever there is a freedom of application, that is an art. Wherever always the result is going to be same, that is basically a science. So that is the reason, if for example, within the data that is available, within the kind of questions that are available, if there is mathematics, physics or chemistry type of subjects or botany or zoology, these are all science subjects we call them. Those are more of science, less of art. So if there are two particular chemicals to be mixed and a third chemical comes, it comes for everybody. It is not going to be only for some person. However, when it is an art, it is not going to be same for everybody. If you take, for example, painting as an art, if you ask two painters to draw the painting of a horse, both of them may not draw in the same way. There will be difference between their art. That is where the application could be different from person to person. However, can we say economics is purely art? No, we cannot say that because it has application of scientific principles also. Can we say economics is purely science? No, that is also not possible. Economics is not just a science, it is also an art. Since the topic has come, just for understanding, if it was purely a science, earlier there were two Nobel laureates of coming from America who got a Nobel Prize in economics. Two people, jointly they got Nobel Prize in economics. And after getting the money from the Nobel Prize, they have invested that money in some business, and within 2-3 years only, both of them became bankrupt. Means their business went into so much of losses that they had to file insolvency petition. Ultimately, they became zeros, and they are Nobel laureates in economics. I am not telling that they are wrong or they are not less knowledgeable. No, definitely with all due respect to them, they are all doing what? They have more bent of science, but they failed in the art of business economics. Art of business economics involves practical application. The theories will be there in the science. Application of that will happen in the case of art. For example, Dhirubhai Ambani, who has founded the Reliance Industries, might not have studied economics. To the best of my knowledge, he did not even finish graduation. But does he have the art of applying them for the purpose of achieving some set objectives? Absolutely yes. He might not know the business economics as a theory, but he has the art of using that for the purpose of getting better objectives to be achieved. So, these are to be mixed. We cannot completely say I will be only focusing on the science aspect. We cannot completely say I will be focusing on art aspect. If somebody says I will focus only on art aspect, they don't need any qualified people as part of their staff. But still they take. Why do they take? Because they know they need somebody who knows the economics or other things as science. But those people who know the science does not mean that they will be successful in applying it as an art. So these two things have to be working together. Then only the organizations will be successful. Otherwise it is difficult. That is the nature of economics. It is a science also and an art also. It has microeconomics focus mostly also. At the same time, it will have a little bit of macroeconomic analysis also. Both are to be balanced always. And in general, the economics uses the theory of markets and private enterprises. So we are talking about a capitalist economy, market economy, where there are private enterprises. We are not talking about a socialist economy or a communist economy at all, because that is not our discussion purpose here. We are talking about purely private enterprise and market economic theory. That is the nature of it. So when we say business economics, we are talking about market economics. What is market economics? We'll come to that in the next unit of the same chapter. Of course, business economics is pragmatic in approach. Pragmatic means basically practical. Practical again will lead us to this. It will have application of real life practical problems rather than just having some theories in the laboratories or drawing rooms. So definitely it tackles with the practical problems which are faced in the real world by the organizations. So we can call that business economics is pragmatic. Also already we know this, it is interdisciplinary in nature. Means what? It has lot of other types of research areas also, subject matters also, which are linked with business economics, like what? Mathematics, operations research, management theory, accounting, marketing, finance, statistics, econometrics, different variety names are there. All these things are linked with business economics. Once again, somebody will think, I don't know any of these things. You should not know, Baba. If you know all these things, you are called as chartered accountant, or you will be already a postgraduate person. You are now knowing the names only. By knowing the names, you don't know what they are. Not necessary to know what they are. So just know that it is interdisciplinary. Business economics is interdisciplinary, and various types of other tools and techniques are going to be in conjunction with business economics. They will give us best output for decision making process. Then it is normative in nature is another word that is used. There are two things in general on a broader basis. These are like philosophical words you can say, are used mostly in the scientific discussions we can say. Positive and normative. We will come to this particular discussion in the next class. Why? Because a lot of times one question definitely will come from this. We need to be very clearly knowing the difference between what is positive and what is normative. Generally what happens is they will give a statement, they will give some kind of a sentence, then they will ask whether it is a positive statement or a normative statement. Or maybe otherwise four sentences will be given, and in that what is the odd man out they can ask. Like let us say out of them 3 are positive and 1 is normative, we have to take out the normative, or vice versa. 3 are normative and 1 is positive, you have to take out positive. Means what? Ultimately you have to have a very good knowledge of identifying what is a positive statement and what is a normative statement. Of course, business economics is both. Let us not be very I would say restrictive in nature in terms of understanding business economics. It is both, though it is given as normative only. I don't agree with that completely. It is both normative also and positive also. Both are there as far as business economics is concerned. More than business economics characteristic, we should be more knowing about what is the difference between positive and normative. That we will discuss in the next class. But before that, quickly you have to go through all these things which have been already discussed. What is the nature of business economics? What are the features of business economics? What is the definition that has been given? How the economics is classified? And what is microeconomic areas and what are macroeconomic areas? Very clearly those are all given. You just need to know them, don't need to by heart them, not necessary. And what are the various features of business economics? Nature of business economics, we can say it is a science also and it is an art also. It is based mostly on microeconomics also. It incorporates elements of macroeconomics also. Basically, it uses the theory of markets and private enterprise, and it is practical in nature and it is interdisciplinary in nature also. These are all various things related to business economics. You don't need to remember any of these lists because this is not a descriptive examination. Nobody is going to ask you what is the nature of business economics, write down 4 points, 5 points, nobody is going to ask you. But you should know them, that's all. You don't need to remember them. What all that you need to remember? You need to remember the words. Suddenly if a word comes, it is pragmatic. What is pragmatic? I don't know, sir, you cannot say. That you should know. These words you should remember. Vocabulary you should develop from this discussion. Pragmatic is nothing but what? Practical. Realistic, practical approach, that is called pragmatic. Like that, wordings are important. That everybody should know. When the word macroeconomics says aggregates, we should know that aggregate means totals. Like that, wordings will be important, but not to be by-hearted. Nothing in this is required to be by-hearted. These are just generally to be understood that these are the features of business economics. In the next class, we will discuss about what is positive, what is normative. Very important discussion. One question is guaranteed from that. That is why we need to spend some time on that. And in addition to that, we need to also increase our discussion or expand our discussion to how business economics is going to be useful for microeconomic decision making process within the organization. That is one thing within the organization, we can call that internal uses or internal issues, or macroeconomic or environmental users or issues, that is external issues. How these two things are going to be dealt by the business economics, and various aspects will be covered there. Once again, we are only just going to touch base these names, none of them we are going to do now. Of course, we will definitely do them. All of these things will be in detail discussed at future levels of chartered accountancy, be it intermediate or final. So this will be the next class. With that, we can conclude the first unit of chapter 1 in the next session. But before that, everybody should go through the material just generally with a particular focus on the areas where I am highlighting. That will give the crux of whatever the intention of the material is, and that will help us in answering the questions also. So understanding in a deeper level is important here rather than remembering something at a superficial level. Understand that difference. Once again, I am repeating, business economics is a conceptual subject. You can understand the concept and answer the questions. And some information related questions will be there. Those are rare. But if they are there, we'll just have to remember them. Adam Smith, when he has written the book, where the economics word has come from. All these things can be just information based questions. But in general, many questions, majority of the questions will be knowledge based questions, which will be answered, which can be answered only if you are thorough with the concepts. Clear? With that, we can conclude today's session, and in the next session, we will conclude the unit 1 of chapter 1 in the business economics in relation to CA Foundation. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.